When it comes to strike, there are certain things you need to know, and that's why we're actually making this very video. What are those things you need to know? If you have copyright strikes, before you have a copyright strike, there is no how they have not given you several warnings. Some may just be just normal copyright attached. They will tell you it doesn't affect this, it doesn't affect your video, it doesn't affect the visibility of your video, and so on and so on. They'll keep giving you that. They expect that you should adjust. They expect you should have done something new, you should have learned a lesson from it. But when you continuously amaze those strikes, YouTube will count it for you that this particular person doesn't just want to find a reason to adjust, and then they'll now give you a warning strike. That's how it goes. And when you have warning strike, you don't want to adjust, another one now enters. Believe me, I've already set up yourself for restrictions. And the worst restriction any account should have is that as it concerns shadow banning. Shadow banning is simply a term that's applied to a situation whereby YouTube has actually limit or restrict your visibility, either your coverage or recommendation, where your videos are no longer recommended, and then people, the only persons that could even see it are even only people that subscribe to your channel. Those are the only persons that can have access to see your content, and not even good number of them, a few crop of them, possibly those ones that regularly come up to check your content. Those are the persons that can see it. So what I was saying, try as much as possible to avoid strikes. As much as possible, avoid strike from the inception of whether we're giving you copyright, or is your content restricted in this area and that and that. Try as much as possible to avoid getting more of that. And let's say now you have already gotten the strike is already there. What do I do? Please, our advice is, once you start noticing that initially, let's say your views used to be around 120, 500 and so on, and drastically now start seeing 50 at the most, 30 at the most, 15 at the most, know that your account have already started experiencing shadow banning. At that point, it tells you that you need to look for an extra account. Because let's say you have not known what would set you out there for shadow banning. Maybe I'll make another video to explain explicitly on the issues around shadow banning. So when you experience this shadow ban, it tells you that this account, you are doing something that YouTube does not like. You need to adjust. But when you refuse to adjust, you will now go totally into full restriction, and that is the worst state. You can even go live stream, and at most you will have is the person who you told to come and watch your video. That's the person you only see visible in your live stream. So what are we saying? We are saying that when you have seen this warning sign, have an extra account, and in that account, try to take notes or journal on what led to the previous account going to that state and avoid them. What led you to be getting those copyrights or those community guidelines strike? Try to. Because when your second account now starts getting the same warnings, the same strike, any other account that you open from there would definitely be shadow banned. Why? Someone will want to ask me. Reason is because which face are you going to be using to air out your content or to push out your content? Secondly, which voice are you going to be using? You see, so it's the same face, the same voice. And trust me, when it comes to the YouTube search engine, it is very sensitive, highly meticulous, and can actually trap what you least expect. You can identify, you can distinguish between voices and between faces. So where you have issue in the first one, the second one you are still having the same issue. You now think opening the third one and doing the same action would actually make the difference. No, it won't make the difference. It won't make the difference. So as much as possible, what am I saying? Learn what led the first account to get into shadow banning, to get those restrictions for views to come down, and avoid them in the next account. As long as you continuously avoid them, the second account will grow. And you, for the first account, you need to give it good number of time, and then you now come back to start posting things, avoiding those particular actions you were doing that was leading you to get those restrictions or those copyrights or those strikes. Avoid them. Then it will take a while, hopefully. But so in most cases, it might take longer than, which some person will say it may never. It will take longer than expected for it to bounce back. So what I will say in essence, give it some time. You have actually avoid those things that led to the initial restrictions. Your account will now pick up along the way. And funny enough, let me shock us. Do you know that even a monetized account can be shadow banned? Yes, it can be shadow banned. I'm going to make a separate video on that to explain this shadow banning phenomena in details, so that you get to know what could possibly set you out for shadow banning and how to avoid them. Alright? So, a monetized account can actually be experiencing shadow banning activities. Now, in the other hand, where you have avoided those things that led, you now see your account will pick up. The second will pick up. So with this, it will save you the stress from continuously going to open series and series of accounts. Because from the policies, as I read, once an account has been terminated or deleted from the YouTube platform, or have series of strikes, and maybe another one now have the same thing, any other account you pull out, once the search engine identify you are the same person, one and the same person. And do you know there are different ways the YouTube system can actually track you? Yes, very sensitive, including your IPS number, including if you are sharing the Wi-Fi network using the same IP number. A lot of things, a lot of strategies are there to identify if you are still the same owner of that new account. And once it's identified, they will place that restriction, which is called the shadow banning, on the new account. So stop wasting your time opening new accounts and doing the same thing over and over again. Adjust, learn, understudy what had led to the previous account having those experiences it was having, and then make adjustment when necessary. And your account, you pick up your account, it will bounce back to the normal shape. I believe you have learned something from this very video, and if it has been useful to you, let me know in the comment box. And when you need video recommendation on any topic at all around YouTube policies, just let me know in the comment box and we're going to talk about it. Thank you so much. For now, stay blessed. Peace.